Good evening and welcome to the latest instalment of our monthly CarpFix Live. The main purpose of our interactive feed is to answer you, the members' questions. So for a minute I'm going to have a little rattle on with Scott about what we've been up to, and in that time get your questions in, all things carp fishing related, tactical, seasonal, bait, whatever it may be, get them in and we'll run through those after we've had a little waffle. So we've just both been on a family holiday, but before that,
not together.
Not together. No, not together. But we've both been away for a week, and before that, we went on one of our CarpFix socials to French Superwater Three Islands Lake. Now, the Quarter boys are out there filming at the moment. I believe Stokesy and Oscar Thornton. Just having a little flick through social media and saw that they're there, and Oscar's caught a really nice one. But yeah, we didn't do quite as well as we did the previous year, if I'm honest. Yeah, no excuses. Probably in the main down to the fact that didn't pick the right swim. I would say that was the first and probably the biggest issue. And the next one down the chain would probably be that we wasn't the first to be using the boats to bait up with. I'm sure last year we experienced a really, really good session because we were the first to have access to the mass baiting from the boat. They hadn't seen it. They're obviously hungry because the crayfish were eating the bait. And this time, obviously, a little bit of bait had been going in the run-up. But aside from that, I picked swim 16. Scotty just slotted in next door in 17. 17 apparently hadn't been fished for a couple of months, did it? For 2 or 3 months?
Yeah, I think, at least a month.
Yeah, it hadn't been fished. No one had been in there. 16 is the swim where Scott done really, really well last year. Set my stall out on similar spots. Went in with a hemp and boilie approach as opposed to sort of mass maize and all of that. And caught, I can't remember exactly how many I had. I'm going to say 4. I think I had 4. Possibly 5. 1 50-pounder, 53-pounder. How many other fish were caught around the lake?
There was a guy in 6. He must have had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
The guy in 8. He had 3 or 4. So you're talking double figures.
Yeah, and then look, the guy caught one out of 4 the night we left because we left the night early, and there was was it 50? It was a 50, wasn't it?
I forget now.
I think it was a 50.
And then we had Kevin swim 15. He caught, was it 50 or 60? 50.
High 50, 57,
yeah, 50.
Wasn't it? 58.
Yeah. And then I had a couple small little ones.
Yeah. Yeah, we all we had a few between us, but without setting the world on fire. Let's be like, we have these sessions that are brilliant when it all goes right and the planets align. And you do it, you time it well, etc., etc. But this was just one of these. It was a bit of a meh, It wasn't a failure, but it wasn't a haul either. It was just a sort of a run of the mill sort of session. I always say if you go to France and you come away having caught a 50-pounder, you should be happy. 50-pounders are really big fish, so not to be sniffed at. But it's going to be a single film, is that right?
Yeah, I think it will be. I don't want to drag it out too much.
There wasn't enough.
I mean, there's enough footage.
Yeah,
but you don't want to drag it out too much.
No.
But we'll see. I think because you caught like a nice amount of fish for one film.
Yeah.
The other ones will just get referred to. So it's highly likely it'll just go out as one, and I think you'll appreciate it anyway. The viewer will, I think.
Yeah.
It's one film.
But when's that? Is that next Friday, is it?
Yeah, that'll be going out next Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, a typical Three Island session in that it's smashing it out pretty far. Good amount of bait. But like I say, just not as prolific as it had been in the past. Anything that you want to add?
Not really, no. I think, when we'd been before, the year previous, the crayfish the situation was really bad.
They weren't as bad, were they?
Not this time, no. But the boat thing was a new thing. Baiting up on mass was a new thing. I mean, boats had been allowed on there before.
Yeah.
But not not for a long, long time. So having the opportunity to do that be one of the first, that's what brought those results, I think.
Yeah.
And then this time, because it had already been done the rounds, it's not as effective.
The crayfish weren't as active. I think they've taken a lot of crayfish out, made a big dent in them.
Yeah.
And I think that means there's more natural food in the lake to a degree. If there's not as many crayfish, I think the carp were really hungry last time because the crayfish were so active and so prevalent.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, we didn't fail. We didn't haul. It was in the middle of the road. But you're going fishing, aren't you?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, so I'm gonna go. Grenville is gonna. I mean, there's some fish coming out at the moment, and I want to try. Now the kids are back at school.
Yeah.
I want to try and make the most of the ticket on there, and catch some fish. And it's a nice time out there now. The evenings are crispy cold.
Yeah.
And it just feels nice.
Yeah. On deep lakes like Grenville, I always think, when it's like sweaty, that sort of clamminess at night, it doesn't feel right. Do you know when you're fishing in deep water? If you've got a jumper on and the breeze is a bit cool, it feels better on those deeper lakes, doesn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go there tomorrow. I went there start of August. I've literally not fished there because there's just been too much going on. Start of August went there. Got the swim choice a little bit wrong because I was out of touch of the place.
Yeah.
But I've got a good idea. The weather is going to be very similar, and the carp in there do one of two things. And if there's always certain swims. As long as I stick in one of those swims, you shouldn't really go too far wrong.
Is it busy? Do you know?
Don't know.
You don't know?
No, I'm not too sure. There was the fish that were coming out were in
the cabin.
The ones that you mentioned were in the cabin, which is no use to me because I can't fish the
cabin.
But
you've caught out the swims opposite the cabin.
Yeah,
haven't you?
But this is the thing. That's what I did last time, and
it didn't work.
It wasn't the right thing to do.
Right.
That I've not fished swim 14, which every time I go there, someone's in there and they catch fish. Every time.
One of the main pegs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that the wind is going to be going down into that corner again. I imagine that will be
a good area.
Around.
I remember we went there this sort of time last year. Do you remember?
Further up.
Yeah. And I remember that there was a bit of weed on the surface out in front of 12. I could just, when the wind was blowing, I could just see it. It was still quite high. And I remember thinking, it looks a bit weedy out there. Yeah. And we ended up seeing them showing in 16. Was it 16, 17 we fished?
Yeah, I think you went in like 17 or something.
Yeah. But that was September.
Yeah. I think a little bit later than now.
Was it?
I think.
Yeah.
But I will be focusing along that area if the wind is doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
The other option, I mean, I was like there start in August, so 33, which you know very well, but 32, which goes straight out into the deep water. Guy was fishing in there. He had one.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking once you're into September, they're willing to go deep.
This is August.
Yeah.
So yeah, but have you got any advice for me? What were do's and don'ts going into September on Grenville? What would you not do?
Well, going on what happened for us last year, we both went, what you've just said is exactly what we were thinking. I remember now. Yeah. This is what we were thinking last time. We were thinking 12 and 14.
Yeah.
Right? But on the back of the wind.
Yeah.
That's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Right? So we could get out onto that shallow road.
Yeah.
But we went there. I stood in 14 and you walked down the bank a bit further. And then one rattled out to the right, didn't it? Right? So I think, obviously, we know they like the back of the wind there, but I would go down open-minded and just try and see something and fish there. I don't think it's. I think when it gets cooler, once you're into October, November, I think it's very, very concise what you need to do. I think it's like 15, 16, 17. Those three swims there. If you're on the back of a northerly in that zone, I think you're on a good shout there. Yeah. And obviously 33 is in a league of its own, and the reason 33 is in a league of its own is because it's an end peg. That's a big thing, right? Yeah. But more importantly than that fact is it's on the end of a point. So you're getting closer to the middle Like, you were next to me in 32.
Yeah, 32.
I caught 20. You caught 1.
Yeah.
You were fishing a wrap shorter than me,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a wrap shorter than me. It was quite a considerable amount.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think on the back of a southwesterly, you can catch them from 32, but it's not the same as 33.
Yeah.
33 is 5 times the swim that 32 is.
Yeah.
But I think when it's blowing northerly, this is only my opinion in the short time that I fished there, I think there's more swims that can be good. I think like all of them, like 14, 15, 16, 17, all of them can be good on their day on the back of the north.
They've all, like I say, when I've been there, it's going to be a southwesterly, which blows down into that corner.
Yeah.
And whenever that happens, it always fishes well down there.
Yeah. Well, you fish there more when it's warm than I have. I've only fished there a few times. I think September, a few times in spring. But I think if you like you say, you haven't been much, but if you could try and do a bit of time between
That's
now
what I'm
and
going to try and do. Yeah.
now and December,
Yeah.
I think like is prime time there, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I've got obviously like I've got a few swims in mind, and there's always go-tos in there, but they show quite well. Like the fish generally show, so it's not hard. You go to some lakes, don't you, and they just don't show.
No, but obviously,
I mean,
no,
they show a little bit.
Yeah, I went to my syndicate the other day. I can't mention the name of it, but I went there for 3 nights, and it was after those big winds that we'd had, and I got there at lunchtime, which isn't a good time to see fish. No. Anyway, I saw 2, but at lunchtime as I was walking around, I thought, oh, that's great. And I've done 3 nights, so I only saw 1 more after that. And it wasn't in my swim, But they don't show a lot on that lake because it's quite shallow. And I don't think shallow lakes are the best for seeing fish jump. Whereas deep lakes, I don't know if it's to do with them adjusting their swim bladder and stuff, but they jump in Grenville, especially because they feel comfortable out beyond range. So, yeah, I'm almost certain that when you're walking around with your sling tomorrow, I'm
going to be running my push bike, I am.
Yeah.
I'm taking my bike because giving him walking just takes ages.
Yeah. Like you say, you can ride around with your sling,
ground,
put it in the peg, and then get back to your van, or leave your bike or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm going to go there and, hopefully get into some fish, all being well.
Guess what I'm doing?
What are you doing?
I'm going to Gigantica with Dovey and Spooner.
Oh yeah, that's on that's doing a week there next week, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going Friday.
And Spooner.
Yeah, and Spooner and a load of it's basically Dovey's mate's trip.
Yeah.
Spooner's going to be filming a vlog, which if I catch something, I might get a little cameo in there. Like
you can be his gilly.
I'll be his gilly. Well. Someone will end up in a good swim,
and
someone will catch a lot of fish.
Yeah.
But the last couple of times I've been to Gigantica, everyone has caught because they've restocked it. And it's quite in the old days when there was no weed in there, they used to always go in the middle. Whereas now it's got quite I wouldn't say it's weedy, but it's got weed.
Yeah.
And that because of that reason, and there's more fish in there. Certain swims are better than others, but even if you come last in the draw, I feel you can catch and catch a handful. Still, you can still catch a handful. So I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I've got swims in mind. Like
we were having a conversation when we were away the other week. What's happened with the draw situation?
What do you mean?
Because I thought they were putting you in swims and stuff.
No, I don't.
I
think that was just. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was trying to antagonise people out into getting a bit upset. I don't think that's.
So you're going to do a proper draw when you're there?
I believe so, but I believe so. I don't know exactly. Well, I think there's 13 swims, and as long as I'm in top 7, then I'll be very happy. But I think it's really unlikely, even if I was outside, say I was like 8, 9, or 10. I think it'd be unlikely that my top 7 would all go out of that. So like I say, even if I was to come last in the draw, I think there's a good chance of catching. It's just I think the bigger fish come from particular areas in that lake. So that's more what I'm thinking of rather than trying to catch the most.
Would you go straight back in the beach again, or
I'd fish the beach for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, I'd fish the beach. It's a comfortable swim. Big form for that Immaculate Common. So that's after I fished in there and caught Fred. the week, I think it was a week or a week, 2 weeks later, someone caught a fish called two time out of there, which is one of the real big ones. It was a 70-pounder, I think.
They just like it round there, do they?
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say the beach is a good swim by any stretch. It's like I would say if you want to catch 20 carp in a week out there, there's only a few swims you can do that from, and the beach isn't one of them.
Yeah.
But if you at the end of the year you counted up what swims done the most 60s, I bet the beach would be in the mix.
Yeah.
I bet it would be in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get a good draw. Fingers crossed.
We will see.
I don't like. I can't remember the last time I did a draw was when we were on that shop social thing at Norton Disney. But I hate going in stuff doing draws like that. I'd much rather just.
Yeah, normally I'd be really uptight about it.
Yeah.
But because I've been there recently, I'm actually quite relaxed.
Yeah.
It's not when you go to Gigantica in the winter, it's more swimmy.
Yeah.
And you really do need a good draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be a good social.
That would be good. Just like you say, a lot of the swims there produce fish. Yeah. So
I'm ready. I was spooling up in the garden earlier, doing my marker rods, getting them all.
And on the same week, actually, we should mention Rob Burgess is out there doing a social on the road lake.
Yeah.
And Ash, I've knocked my camera. Oh no.
Let
me go back onto there. What's happened there? There we go. We're back.
We're back.
Watch me knee. So Rob's out there doing a CarpFix social with some of the CarpFix members on the road lake. And Ash will be there filming that as well. So that's happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So lots going on there. It'll be a busy week there.
Yeah.
At Gigantica, won't it?
Maybe I'll get a little cameo in Rob's film.
Maybe, yeah.
I'll catch a big one.
Yeah.
He can come over and hoover some up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's not doing so well.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Right, we got quite a few questions on here, so we should probably get cracking.
We were waffling quite a while there, weren't we?
Yeah. Right, Liam Banks. Evening Legends. Darrell, the lake I'm fishing is very weedy. When casting to showing fish, what would your approach be rig-wise? How high to set your top bead, lead size, etc.? I've had a bit of success casting spinners with the bead up at 2 foot, but feel I could be doing things better.
Yeah, it really depends on how weedy it is. And when I say how weedy, how tall is the weed? You know, if you're telling me that it's 20 feet deep and the weed beds are like a few foot from the surface, then that's a real tricky thing, you know. But if you're saying that the weed is, say the lake is 6 foot deep and the weed is just a couple of foot off the bottom, then that's another thing entirely, and it's quite easy to present over low-lying weed like that. Another thing to get across is the type of weed. You know, like early in the season on a lot of lakes you get grassy type weed, and I really don't feel that casting sort of pop-ups on chod rigs and helicopter rigs with the beads pushed up, I don't really feel like that's a great tactic for grassy type weed. But if you've got that low-lying blanket weed, then obviously casting chods and helicopter rigs into that is good. If it's sort of low-lying Canadian, again, you can fish on top of that. My advice would be try and keep the top bead as low as you feel you can get presentation with. You know, if you're getting some sort of drop, like even if it's a muffled drop, I'd be quite happy with the bead 2.5 foot up. 3 foot, 2 to 3 foot up the line, and anything where I'm not getting a drop at all, and you know when you feel it down and it sort of stops, and then you feel the lead sliding down through. That's not good, you know. If you can get some sort of drop with the bead 2 to 3 foot up, then you're probably fishing. And I find in that sort of scenario, spraying boilies with a throwing stick or catapult is better than spomming, because I think spomming is a clear spot tactic, really. It works best when you're focusing your bait in a hole, and when you're fishing on top of weed, I think you're better off just having baits dotted around at different layers in the weed. So that's what I'd recommend. I know you said you caught on spinners, but I would probably go with a hinge rig personally, or a chod rig, just for that extra height on the pop-up to guarantee that it's sort of sitting pretty. So that'd be my tips. I'd probably go for a hinge rig or a chod rig with a pop-up section on, as opposed to a spinner.
Beautiful. Ryan has asked, where can I get your first book from, Darrell, that won't make me take out
Yeah, well, I was had this chat with you today, wasn't I? Yeah, they're out of stock. I haven't had any for a long time. I've seen them I saw them on eBay today, first and second editions for like £100. Like loads of them around 80, 90 quid. That are like, yeah, which is savage. It's absolute savagery. At some point, I will have a reprint, but I just got to club together the money and press go. Really, it's just it needs to be out of stock for a certain amount of time for it to be worth re-releasing, so that when it comes out, enough people buy it to make it worthwhile. But yeah, maybe at some point I'll get around to it.
So you're up for Christmas?
I don't think I don't think you'd have time to get it. Like, well, maybe you would. Yeah. Last time I ordered it from an English printer because I was worried about it not getting here through Brexit and stuff.
Right.
And it turned out that the English printer got it printed in Lithuania and got it shipped over. So he made a few quid on it. Do you know what I mean? He'd made a few quid. So yeah, I messed up there.
Yeah. Oh well. Right, Ross. Evening, chaps. Well done, Darrell, on the Lord. I'm fishing a lake. Basically, it's a small burner's haul. 3 on a spot or scatter boilie only, and fish match the hatch pop-ups. That's like the question. So,
if it's a lake like Berners where you've got a lot of fish, I generally think that if you can find a really good area around the middle of the lake or a position where the fish hold up, and you bait one area fairly heavily with 3 rods, it's easier to get multiple takes and focus your bait in that area. When you're fishing 3 different spots, it's obviously you're diluting your baiting. You're going to have to bait more spots, but you haven't got as many chances on each spot when the fish come in. So, yeah, it really depends. It's quite hard for me to tell what the lake bed's like, how big the spots are on that with that limited information. But if you're fishing a high stock lake like Berners and you can find good spots in the middle where they like to hold up, then 3 on the spot is a brilliant tactic.
Cool. Mick the Greek is watching this evening. Pucker video on the Fully. Have you ever put a chod out in a bait boat? I was wondering how it would lay and end up on the lake bed, or any advice how to use a bait boat and a choddy.
That's a pretty good question, that actually. That kicked over my Red Bull.
So I got plenty more.
Hang on. Right. So how would I do that? Right. First of all, I'd have the bottom bead of the chod rig, let's say 4 inches minimum from the lead. And the reason for that is that when I reel in, the hook doesn't hit the lead. So I'm reeling in with the hook. It's always keeping it away from the lead. The top bead, you're going to set at whatever depth you feel you need to get presentation. When I fish it naked, I really like to fish the top bead 12 to 14 inches from the lead, and mostly just because that's what's worked for me. And also, I think if you put it really high, your hook bait isn't landing anywhere near your lead. So if you're fishing to a clear spot, it could be then in the weeds. So yeah, if you're going to fish it naked, I tend to fish it 12 to 14 inches from the lead. And what I would do is I would foam nugget the hook and put it next to the bottom bead so the lead and the bottom bead would be inside the boat, and the bottom bead would be the thing stopping it sliding out through the hopper door. The bottom bead would be against the hopper door, the lip, and then your top bead would be outside. And then when I got it to the spot, before I open the hopper door, I would let go of the line so that the line fell slack. I would open the hopper door until I saw my line moving, and the second I saw my line moving, I'd then put my finger on the spool so that it shoots tight. You get some form of drop, but you haven't fallen away from the bait in the bait boat.
Beautiful. Andre has asked, Darrell, epic film on the Lord of the Manor. Looks like lots of people have watched it. It's got good figures already.
I don't know what's good figures, but yeah, I watched it myself and I was like, that's a good film.
Yeah.
I obviously make a lot of films.
Yeah, you don't often watch your own stuff.
No, but I just, there's something about it, do you know what I mean? It's different. But it's obviously for us to make a film like that, to sit there for 23 days is, we're putting a film out every Friday. It's too much.
Yeah, we would have no...
we'd have no content.
We'd have, yeah.
We'd have no content.
No, yeah.
We'd just have me sitting down the lake.
Yeah.
Like when you think 23 days has been condensed down into an hour,
yeah.
it's like, where has all that footage gone?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I have recently just come back from a week in France. I was fishing a lake exclusive with a friend that was 4 acres in size. Reported fish up to high 40s in the lake. We fished 3 rods on each spot that produced throughout the week. Bait and weight approach. I had 50 fish in the week up to 39 pounds, but couldn't get through to the big uns. What would have been your big fish tactic? I was fishing over boilies, 18-20 millers, tigers and maize. Spinner rigs with 15, 16 mil pop-ups. So I mean, he had up to 39, and they only, they go up to high 40s, so he wasn't far away. But is there a way to? Is it the numbers?
Yeah, obviously numbers are going to be one thing, and generally fishing cruder. But if you're fishing 18, 20 millers, you're fishing a pretty steady. But because you're putting maize and tigers out there as well, you're getting everything interested. Like I always say, if you only ever fish boilies, you will never catch as many as the guys that use all the different baits. But your average size compared to them will be bigger. Like it's just how it is. If you only fish straight boilies, you will catch less. But at the end of the year, your average size will be bigger. Like there's certain things that people deem as big fish tactics. Fishing tall pop-ups, that's a big fish tactic. Fishing just off the side of the bait, that's a big fish tactic. Fishing with straight boilie, that's a big fish tactic. Fishing match to hatch, that's a big fish tactic. And so is using bigger boilies. Like if you put 24 millers out there, you will catch less doing so, but your average size will be better. So, yeah, I always think that it's always best to catch initially, and then once you're catching a lot, then you can start doing things to try and catch the bigger ones. But like for example at Orient, if I fish boilies, I know I'll catch tench. If I fish tigers, I know I've got a better chance of catching carp. Once I start catching on tigers, sometimes I'll try a big boilie with 10 big boilies around it over some tigers. So I've just got like some big crude conkers out there, and that's worked for me. But yeah, mostly it's the numbers game. But yeah, then being crude, using match to hatch, fishing off the spot, fishing crude pop-ups, that sort of thing.
You certainly had a good week though, catching 50 odd fish. So
yeah, don't sound like you got much sleep.
No, not much of a holiday. No. But maybe it was.
No.
Right, we've got a question from Alan. Good evening. I'm fishing a lake that has a very secluded area which you cannot fish, which is where the fish hold up.
Of course.
What's the best way to get them out or get a bite when this happens?
You can't. That's if you can't fish there, regardless of it's out of bounds or you just can't reach it for whatever reason, or it's behind a tree, they will know that. They live there. And I don't know whether it's line pressure, whether it's where the leads land. They will know that. And they will go there routinely to feel safe. The best thing that you can do is try and get a real hold on where they go from there. First of all, their paths that they take, where you might be able to intercept them. But obvious interception points at the mouth of areas that you're not permitted to fish on busy pressured lakes, they just swim straight over the top. They know that you'll be waiting for them there. And sometimes they swim straight out of these safe areas to go right down the other end and feed. So you can base your location around knowing that they're going to go there, but the real keys to those situations is knowing the paths that they take in and out and the areas that they go from there to feed. So yeah, you're not going to pull them out of there with bait. I wouldn't say. I would say that it's unlikely you're going to do that. But yeah, watch where they show in the mornings before they end up in these safe areas, and watch where they show at night, because there'll be signs of areas that they're going to feed.
Cool. Ross has asked, Darrell, what was the reason for not using contour from the start of the Manor for short distance and being a small pond, assuming you wanted to be pinned to the bottom?
I started with sub-braid. So the reason I use sub-braid for that situation is purely for accuracy. When you're spomming and baiting with braid, the most accurate thing to use is braid, and the water was coloured, and I think in coloured water, obviously you don't need to worry about the clarity of your line. and I felt that the braid's accuracy for feeling the drop and landing on the same spot twice was the edge. But as the session progressed, I felt like the water was clearing and my braid started to lose its colour a little bit. It wasn't sinking, like, because there's like algae sort of built up on the line and stuff, and it started to stand out. I changed to mono because I had spools with mono on, but then that wasn't sinking at all really, and I thought fluorocarbon's the way forward. I do like that. My biggest gripe about fluorocarbon is casting it accurately in a crosswind, because it's heavy and coily. When it goes through the rings, you get friction, and the more friction going through the rings, the more the lead will kite in the wind. So it's more difficult to be accurate with fluorocarbon. But the end result, I think, is the best, because fluorocarbon is much heavier than any sinking braid. I like the fact it's got a little bit of stretch, so you've got a bit of a cushion when you're playing them. I think fluorocarbon's got a lot of pros. It's super heavy, super clear, but it doesn't cast brilliantly. So yeah, I was fishing short range, and I thought, yeah, I'll change to that.
Cool. Just stick with the Manor quickly. Mick the Greek, was it just boilie and hinges to catch the fully?
Yes. Yeah. In the very, very end, I had a session there. Didn't do very well. So the first bit of the film that you saw was 2023, when I was using the worms and whatnot. Caught a lot of fish doing so. Over that winter, they stopped the use of worms there. I went back in October 24, just fish boilies, just fish to the blatant clear spots that are sort of it was much weedier the second year, and I basically was just fishing it on the same clear spots that every person that turned up fished. And I could just see that they weren't coming. You know, they were very comfy in the thickest weeds, like around. You know, there was the two main weedy areas they would just sort of hold up in. And I knew after struggling for a week, something had to change. You know, they weren't going to suddenly come on this clear spot and eat the boilies. Maybe if I'd had worms, they'd have suddenly come out and eaten on those clear spots. But to get them to pick up the boilies had to be put where they felt safe, and that meant creating new spots with a castable weed rake. And in the end, it was like literally just like one spom of boilies over a hinge once the spot was clear, and that was like, I baited it quite heavily, but once I started getting bites, it was just topping it up with a single spom, because a single spom of like 10 millers, it's like a big spom as well. You're talking like probably, I don't know, 100 or so, maybe like 70, 80, 90, 100 boilies in a single spom, and if that spom's accurate, that's enough.
Yeah, quite big. When it goes down, quite a big spread.
Yeah, and I was I'm only fishing 15, 18 wraps out, and it's a tiny pond where the wind doesn't really hit it. So when I'm like, it's all landing there, you know, there or thereabouts. So yeah, the real key for catching it in the end was the creation of my own spots. That was the key.
Yeah. James has asked, good evening, fishing Bayswater day ticket in early October. What would be your tactics? I'm thinking naturals, or would you go just boilie approach, tiger nuts, any good in October?
I would probably, knowing Bayswater, because there's not loads of coarse fishing there, or there certainly wasn't back in the day, I would probably fish maggots. And because it's not long distance fishing, I would probably fish PVA bags rather than get involved in all of that spomming 24/7. I would probably fish bags of maggots and be roving them about. Maybe spom it up with some maggots, and take boilies as well. But from memory, there's always loads of coots on there. The water will be crystal clear come October. The coots will be dive bombing and the seagulls will be fighting for the boilies. I don't think that would be the best tactic. I think something dull like a hemp and caster and red maggot mix could be good. If you're going to spom it up, I would probably go with hemp, caster and red maggot, and then alternatively to that, be fishing maggot bags or caster bags.
Get on the naturals. Not the cheapest way to fish, but could be the best.
Yeah, but you don't need loads. You don't need to fill it in. No. You know, if half your mix is hemp isn't that dear.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't be going wild on the caster spomming it out.
No,
like,
especially if
the wayward spom's like £1.50.
Yeah, right.
Luckily, Bayswater's not too big. You should be able to cast straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Lennart has asked, "Hi, legends." I don't know. I'm not legend, but you are.
Legends.
How did it turn out for Captain Pecky on the Orient ban being caught? Any alternative wild waters planned? Cheers, Lennart.
Yeah. I haven't really talked too much about it, but it's. I'm not saying I'm mourning my ban, as in like, but I felt less motivated this year because I'm not going there. You know, it's like my Orient passion is on another level to anything that I do, and anything else that I do outside of that is always just feels inferior. And I'm banned. I don't think I can fish it again until 2028. They're vindarging it this year, so that means that the water level is going to go like to nothing, and they're talking about netting catfish and all sorts out there. And whenever they talk about running nets through lakes with monster carp in vindarges, I think people see pound signs and fish disappear. You know, I'm not sure it will be the same when they refill it. I just don't know. What have I got planned outside of that? I don't know. I've sort of had conversations with Scott about potentially going south, really far south to Spain,
Road trip,
or the bottom of France, sort of the end of the autumn, early winter, sort of try and chase the season out, if you know what I mean. I might have a little dabble back on Burfield once I get back from this Gigantica trip, and then I'm thinking about a big road trip, maybe a 3-weeker or something down, and chase out the autumn maybe.
I've just had a great idea. A little bit of skiing on the way back. If I go back with you, can we go over the
Alps?
Yeah, and just go skiing for a day. Just
for a day?
Just on the way back.
Yeah.
Just,
maybe, you can teach me how to
stop
ski.
off.
You know, tow me. I'll tell you what, I'll just stay in the bar.
Yeah.
I'll just stay in the bar. You go skiing.
You do the après ski. I'll do the skiing.
Yeah.
That's a good shout, actually. Oh, this camera. I didn't knock it then. Oh, no, I did. Sorry. There we go. Sorry. It's never normally does that. Anyway. Ross, I know I'm early to the party, but going to Gigantica Road Lake in May, what would be your opening ideas, swim choice at that time of year, and tactics?
I always think that for all the song and dance that people make about spring, I think lots of bait is rarely the way forward. I can't think of many times on any venue where filling it in the spring is the best tactic. I would suggest looking for a swim that has a no fishing bank, somewhere where you can get close to a margin. I think it's Turtles is one of the swims that does that. I think the Tea Party swims have margins that you cast across to. I think it's Billy's, I believe. I'm not certain of that. I think Billy's is another one. Another one called Bachilia's, and is it Decoy fishes around to the bund on that. So yeah, my advice would be to look for somewhere where you've got a no fishing bank, because you can get into shallower water, and not to go wild with the bait. That'd be my key points that I'd have in my mind before I got there.
Cool. Daniel has said, "Evening, gents. I've been using the Corda tapered mainline in £15 for strength and distance casting. Any thoughts on the new Corda line and how it would compare?"
I have yet to use the new Kaizen Mono. I'm told it's similar to the long chuck. So if you've been using the long chuck and you like it, then I'm told that the Kaizen line is similar to that. I think it's slightly less stretch. It might be more supple as well. I'm sure someone said it's more supple. But I am gonna give it a whirl, because they've been singing about it. Like the .38 one in particular is the one that they are all harping on about as a general purpose line. But I tend to fish tapered line when I'm chucking far. And when I'm fishing short, I tend to fish fluorocarbon. And I haven't done much sort of what I would call like general purpose fishing. I like my line to sink if I'm fishing short. And if I'm fishing short, I use fluorocarbon. But yeah, I need to spool up. I've been spooling up for Gigantica. I've done a set of spools with tapered. And I was going to use fluorocarbon, but maybe it's a good chance to
Give
try.
it a go.
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Give it a whirl.
Martin Burkett has asked, yes, boys. How do I get on one of these socials? Would absolutely love to get on one.
Well,
got to be quick.
Yeah. To be fair, the next year's Gigantica one, all the guys that came, they all want to come again. Like, no, I said, like, you haven't got to give me the money now or anything like that. You just tell me. They're like, I'm coming. Like, they want to come. You know, they had a great time. The Three Islands one's already sold out, isn't it? But we've got next year's Road Lake one if we want it, which hasn't got anyone on it.
Is that the same time?
It's the same week as the Gigantica one.
Okay.
I think did tell you what date it was, but I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's. I'm going to say the 16th of August. If that's a Saturday, that sounds. I reckon it is.
It would definitely be worth exploring doing a UK one. Because we do, like, there's a couple of questions in here about it, so it's definitely worth exploring it. But in terms of how do you get on one, what we normally do is we just either, well, we don't have time to even send an email out. We just put a post out, don't we, on social?
Yeah, because it's only a few spots, isn't it? But if we go down the route of what Tom Maker and Scott Lloyd done, where you get a few lakes at Linear, if you get B1, B2, and what's the other one next to it? The Hardwick and Smiths. You can get loads of people on it.
Yeah.
So that's an option for us. Or I'm guessing we could probably do that at Norton as well if we were to get it booked up in advance. Obviously, you get more people on Linear because the swims are closer together. Yeah. But I think at Norton would be a better experience for most people, as in because you'd get more water to yourself. Yeah. Yeah. But we talk about that off camera another time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth exploring.
But keep an eye on our social pages because that's we advertise them on there when we do one, and obviously they do go quick.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, could be an idea. Obviously, you could have a dedicated page for it just for them, but I could set up an email address that people can just sign up for that is just for the socials.
Yeah. Just like a waiting list.
Yeah, and anything that is in your inbox from there will be about like future things. But there's only any point in doing that when you've got places available. But yeah, they just go too quick because there's not enough spaces to go around, unfortunately. Yeah.
Maybe we should book the entire complex at, what's it called? What's the one that Rob used to go to? What's that lake?
Burgess?
No, in France where he goes, Crete Lakes.
Oh, Crete.
They've got loads of lakes there, haven't they?
This is a thing that's so expensive to go over there now.
No, you're right, yeah.
If you just go, like you say, Norton Disney accommodates most anglers and all abilities. Yeah. Something for everyone. Got everything there you need. And then you've got Linear as well. Yeah. Anyway, so you just keep an eye on socials. If we do other stuff, you'll see it on there. I think on Instagram you can hit like a little bell or something, can't you, to be notified when we put a story up. That's the best bet, is to do that and just have a look and see what the story is. Anyway, let's have a look. Ben Milnes is, good evening lads, currently sat in Gigantica in the stink swim, waiting for a big one, looking good for it.
How many's he had? I want to know. How many you had, Ben?
How many have you had? We'll see see if we get a reply.
I want all the info because I'm there Friday. Don't tell any of the others. Don't tell Spooner. Don't tell Dovey. Keep it all for me.
Yeah.
How many reps? Yeah. What tree?
They won't be watching this. Jez Westgarth. Hi there. Hope you are both well. Free Islands advice, please. I'm in swim 16 for the week of the 10th of October. Any advice, please, on approaching baiting at that time of year? I've been once before. Blanked in 14.
16's a better swim than 14 for certain. If you watch our video that comes out, you'll see exactly where I was casting. I caught fish at 30 wraps and fish at 35 wraps. Now 35 wraps is very, very far. There's 35 wraps is wind dependent. Even for me, when you're fishing with big boilie on the end, without a tailwind, that's a long cast. If you've got tailwind, it's doable. If you haven't got a tailwind, you're bordering on crack-off territory every time you wham it out there. But the 30 wrap spot is a good one. And like I say, if you look at the video, you'll be able to see exactly where my leads were landing, what direction I was fishing. With regards to bait, the crayfish should be very, very vastly reduced by that time of year. Shouldn't really be a problem. I would probably just fish boilies. And if you've seen our film when we film, I think, is it not Full Moon Monsters? That's the February film, isn't it? What's the one when we're in Swim 10? What is that called? Is that Full Moon Monsters?
No, I'll get it up.
But there's a film where we go there in November and fish in Peg 10, and we fish straight boilies and we catch plenty. So I would say take Cell. I think Cell is the best cold water boilie there is. It's a great boilie at any time of year, but I think it's the best cold water bait boilie of all time. And that's what I would take if I was going there in October. And yeah, I would fish straight boilie.
Cool. I'm trying to search for the film. Just quickly. Low stocked. Was it after that one?
It's that one, isn't it?
Which one?
Full Moon Monsters.
Full Moon Monsters.
Is it 2 parts?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is that one.
It is that one. Yeah.
Full Moon Monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks really good on the. Is that how it looks on the laptop for everyone, or is that just because it's
a laptop? Yeah.
Like that's the laptop version of the website?
Yeah.
It looks so much better than that. Like that looks better than it does on the phone because you can see it more.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really good.
Yeah. On there it looks good, but yeah. Right. Where is my thing gone? Oh no, this one. Sorry. Right.
We back.
Right. Marco. Marco says very carpy and entertaining film from the Manor. Any target fish for autumn?
Well, I've got 2 syndicates. One of them's Burfield. One of them is a no publicity venue. I haven't entirely made my mind up. Like I went to the no publicity one last week. Didn't catch anything, but I went there as anything just to. I haven't been there since the spring. I went there to just re-see it, if you know what I mean. Get it in my mind. And when I come back from Gigantica, I'm going to go to Burfield for a trip, and then I'm going to make my mind up what I'm going to do, or based on what I see at Burfield. So yeah, I'm like this at the moment. I'm not 100% sure. Both of them are worthy venues. Burfield, it's more practical, as in that I can apply myself because the rules dictate that you can fish 4 nights a week. You only have to have 2 nights off before you come back, so it's very easy to sort of flit in and out as you want. Whereas the other one has got some pretty stiff rules regarding time, in that if you do 4 nights, you can't come back for 10 days. It's really hard in that situation to get anything building, like you staying in touch with what's going on. When I go flat out, I like to be able to keep my foot to the floor. So yeah, we'll see.
James has got a question. I want to use a large solid bag and drop from a bait boat. Could I get away with using a shot on the hook in a PVA bag with a D-rig kicker? Could you use a short stiff boom also? You would not. If you're fishing a bag, you wouldn't fish a stiff boom. There's no need whatsoever. You could definitely fish a D-rig kicker. You could definitely fish a shot on the hook. My biggest worry about fishing a PVA bag in the boat is water coming up through the hopper door into the bait boat and melting your bag before it's reached its target. On a windy day, the waves can lap over the boat and come inside. So I don't know what bait boat you got. Some have got special compartments where I've seen it where PVA can be kept. But mozzies are out, mate. The mozzies are out. I've always thought that PVA bags in boats, from the boats I've used, water's coming up through the hopper and coming over the top. And a lot of the time, I reckon your bag's melted before you can get to your spot. So just bear that in mind. Cool. Terry has asked, can I ask Darrell a question? I use the multi-combi rig a lot. What size wafter would best suit a size 6 wide gape? Now, I've used it a lot with 12s, 15s, 18s and 20s, right? And I've always done so with a size 6. I think there's no need to change to a bigger hook unless you're fishing a bigger bait than a 20. Or that you think that you're going to be when you're going to have to hit and hold. I fished on Germany on this private lake one time, fishing with braid to snags at long range with size 6s, and straightened a couple of hooks out. Just couldn't handle the bit. They're big fish. Fish were braid, no stretch in the line,
and had my hook straightened out a couple of times in a day. So yeah, I would fish with 6s unless I was having to fish real locked up with braid, and in that case I'd fish a double X size 4 with obviously a big bait.
Cool. Lucas said, when are we getting more road to a 60?
When tomorrow?
When I catch a fish.
You're going tomorrow.
When I catch a fish.
Yeah.
If I catch a fish. Lennart's in for a second question. Sometimes I'm worried about spooking off the fish when marking and spomming. How do you define the balance between a stealthy approach and knowing baiting your spot?
Well, it's just it's a necessary evil. It's, you know, I've probably not said this too many times on camera, but I've definitely said it lots of time off camera. Spomming is my least favourite thing about carp fishing for multiple reasons. First of all, if you're fishing any lake that's remotely difficult, you're literally driving the fish out of your swim every time you put a spom into the water. If it's difficult, the fish are under pressure, they don't need your bait, then spomming is a no-no. It's just not ideal. It's also really time consuming. It can feel like hard work. But yeah, if that's the only way to get bait into your swim, then you have to do it. And if you use the smaller spom, it doesn't make quite as much of a splosh. If you bait up at the times when you feel the fish are definitely not feeding on or less likely to be scared off out of your swim, like a lot of the times, you have people that they top up. They're always banging on about topping up. It's like, yeah, I put out 12 and then I put out another 3 and then another 4 after a bite. I tend to try and put out as much bait as I need to get a few bites. Like if I'm fishing somewhere with quite a few carp, I might put out 20 spoms, 30 spoms, and try and get 3 or 4 bites over that before topping up. Because I think if you're topping up and expecting to catch, then you're basically saying those carp are stupid. That's what you're basically insinuating, that they are hungry enough to eat out of a spom. You know, and a lot of the lakes I fish, there are some lakes where they will eat out as the bait's falling down amongst them. But yeah, I think if you believe that, then yeah, you're not giving the venue a lot of respect. And I think most times they are scared off by the spom.
Nathan said, amazing Manor video and worms. The worms bit had me howling. Keep up the amazing content. Right, we're like halfway through the questions. We're probably under halfway.
Right, we need to hurry
So
up.
we'll do like a power 10 minute.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll
short answers.
And we'll see how far through we get. But yeah, we've got there's a lot tonight.
Okay,
which is good.
It's because we put a bit of promo out for it.
Yeah. Because I got Ash to pump on Monday, first thing Monday, because he wasn't editing a film. I said, give it a good old pump, you know.
Give it a pump.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should give it a pump more often. Get more of you on here.
Yeah, I mean, we could easily do 2.5 hours, but I know that, like, yeah.
You better give me another Red Bull.
Yeah. No, let's do a little power through, and then we'll see how far. Well, I've got one. Do you want one?
Not a big one.
No,
you got a small one. Go on, guess a little one.
Sorry, my camera. We are still here.
Can they hear me?
Yeah.
Don't sleep, Darrell. Don't sleep.
Why does it keep going off like that?
Right.
Let me just cut to. Oh no, what's it doing? It's crashed. There we go. We're back. We're here. We're always here.
Right, hit me with these power questions.
Right, okay. Darrell, have you ever found yourself spending more time than you should looking for the bait or rig that will unlock a lake rather than just good angling?
No.
I mean, you can...
Absolutely. No.
Okay.
I don't like... I'm happy with my rigs. I know what baits work, depending on the situation, how many nuisance fish there are or what the time of year is, and I stick to tried and tested rigs, tried and tested baits, and focus on where the carp are and the exact spot I need my rig on.
Cool. Nathan has asked, evening all, hope all's well and dandy. Firstly, Darrell, that fully scaled film was effing epic. Question, what's the best bit of angling you've seen recently from another angler? Tight lines, Nath.
Tom Stokes at the Manor. Obviously, his films are on CarpFix. I knew when I had those 3 weeks booked for me, right? I knew they were good weeks. When that fish hadn't been out, and you're sending Tom Stokes there to fish on his own, if you'd said to me, give me odds on what, I would have said 75% chance he's going to catch it, right? Because I fished with him a few times. and he is right up there. He's the creme de la creme. And you put the right guy in a situation like that, and shit's going to get real. And you know, those videos will be timeless on our page. You know, to have those videos with Tom there. Tom is one of the very, very, very best.
Gary, good evening, lads. Currently sat at Gigantica trying to catch the Immaculate before Darrell turns up. I don't know, was that the same?
That?
Gary
Yeah,
Morrison?
he was on our social as well. He was in the.
He's out there again?
Yeah, mate. They've got. Once you get a taste of the old Big G, you're hooked on the old Big G.
Stephen, good evening, guys. Love both. New films out. Darrell, any advice on the Road Lake out next year, end of June? Also, how do you get the opportunity to fish with you on the CarpFix socials?
Well, we've covered the CarpFix social bit earlier in the feed. We're going to try and do more of them. I think sending Rob a message. Rob has fished Road Lake. I've only fished there once in the depths of winter. I don't know it very well. June, they should have spawned in there by June. But again, I really don't like the pegs in the middle. Like on Gigantica, I like the middle pegs. On Road Lake, I like the pegs with no fishing banks because I think they just get pushed to those banks where there's no lines. So yeah, my advice would be to look to the swims that have got no fishing banks. Keep an eye on where's producing. But I think by June they should be hungry if they have spawned on there. And another thing I would do is message Rob, because Rob knows a lot more about it than I do.
Beautiful. Tom, best baiting tactics for late September through to late October. Would you stick with the same or change anything?
I do think that like fish meal baits, high oil ones, are good in September and October. But as it cools off, I do think that they probably lose their effectiveness a bit. And if you are thinking about fishing through that period, I would just use Cell because it's not losing its effectiveness. It just stays good all year round. Now, that said, boilies are very rarely my only tactic. It's certainly not my first choice when I turn up to a lake in autumn. If I know there's no coarse fish, no silvers, no bream, no tench, then I don't think you can beat maggots, casters. You know, they're elite baits at that time of year. Sweet corn is another favourite. I remember doing a really good film with Elliot Gray on what's the one at Christchurch, the one next to Willow. I fished on Willow using straight corn and done well there, and I've done well on straight corn in the autumn on a few places. So I love alternative baits, and maggots, casters and sweet corn are my favourites, but that is depending on nuisance fish. If there's lots of nuisance fish, then I just fish boilies.
Cool. Dom has asked a very similar questions. Hopefully that'll answer his question as well. Steve Middleton, evening lads. Good luck with your trip next week. Thank you. Hope you've been catching a few as well. Clive has asked, evening guys, is there a way to create hard spots with baiting in a very silty lake?
Well, yeah, if you get the fish feeding on a spot, it firms up. You know, they push the softer sediment away. It just gets dusted off. So yeah, by bait, if you really want to clean a spot off, then you really want to be baiting with ultra fine stuff. Like chopped boilie is good, but obviously expensive. Hemp is brilliant, but like chopped nuts is a brilliant way to clear off a spot. You know, you're getting loads of micro crumbs that's just going to spread out over the lake bed. And then it's a case of being accurate, you know, because the wider you spread it, the more of an area you're trying to clear. So you want to keep it tight, keep it frequent, and even the birds diving on it will keep it dusted off to a degree. So yeah, micro feed items, ground bait, powders, like liquids that get them rooting around in the bottom, and the more that they feed on it, the clearer and harder it will become.
Nathan, the socials, hopefully we've covered those, so yeah, keep an eye on the
social pages.
Yeah, social pages. Yeah, we're getting asked quite a bit tonight.
They want it, don't
they?
Yeah. I'm sure they've watched that Gigantica film recently and seen people catching big fish. You know, like a couple of times not a couple of times, but that last year at Gigantica, I ended up in Alcatraz catching loads, and it just looks like I'm the only one catching.
Yeah.
Whereas this year, it was very even. Yeah. Everyone on the lake caught.
Yeah.
and no one really had it away. It was like 5 or 6, 7, 8 for the guys that caught the most, and everyone caught a few.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Yes, just keep an eye. Steve, just joined my local angling club. Carp to £25, mainly teen to doubles, average depth of 5 to 6 foot. Some mixed species, but mostly carp. No nuts or particles allowed, just hemp. What are your suggested rigs and bait?
Well, when I'm fishing on a clear spot, I always fish with the combi multi-rig. And when I'm fishing with pop-ups, I generally fish with a stiff hinge, sometimes with a chod, but generally a stiff hinge. So, yeah, decide whether you want to fish pop-ups or wafters and choose either of those 2 rigs. And with did you say nuisance fishing there? Can't remember.
Minimal, was it? Mixed species, mostly carp. So
Yeah, but these mixed species means there's other stuff in there. Like
bream.
I would try alternative baits, like sweet corn, maggots and casters, hemp. But if I was getting a couple of bream here and there, that would be the end of that straight away. As soon as I'm catching bream, I'm done with that. I can't be doing it. I would fish straight boilies. So yeah, that would be my go-to.
David Lloyd, what's your go-to goo for autumn? Does the goo you use change from season to season? I
rarely use goo outside of the spring. Like I obviously the guys at Corda use it a lot. Dovey and Spooner, like those isotonic and pineapples, are a big favourite of theirs. I know Stokesy uses the isotonic and the pineapple as well. Does really well on them. But generally through the summer and autumn, I tend to try and fish food, like real food. Whereas I think a goo is like here I am sort of thing. It's more like you're just trying to alert them to something, but like rather than a food signal, it's just a signal that I'm here. So yeah, I don't use the goo in the autumn, and when I do use the goo, the squid goo is my go-to, the one that I use the most. If I want to fish a yellow or a white bait, I use the white squid, and if I want to fish a pink one, then I'll use the pink one. But yeah, that's the only one that I really use, although I have caught on loads of them.
Patrick Goodwin, are you ready for next week?
He's on the old Dovey trip.
Yeah.
We've got like a little, is it called the Gigantica OG group, which I'm the little sidekick on the side.
You managed to join it.
I got on it last year. Probably get booted off next year. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it's. I love Gigantica. Feel comfortable there. Good bunch of blokes.
Yeah.
We're all buzzing. The WhatsApp group, I don't know how many messages in it. It's like,
well, you said the other day, but you just like...
I'm not in many groups because I'm a bit of an introvert, but this one's been blowing up 24/7 every morning. It's just going on.
Mark, CarpFix socials, we don't like pick random. Unfortunately, we have to pay for the lakes. So, yeah, you members, or whoever comes on them have to pay. So the way it works, we put a post out on social. You say you want to come, you pay half of whatever the balance is. That secures your position, and then you pay the rest within a time frame. That's just how we do it. So yeah, just keep an eye on socials. Steve, how are you planning on fishing the main lake next week? If you need tunnel trips, then Shout can save you 10% off retail.
I'll have some of that. They're so expensive, that tunnel now. Like it used to be like 40 quid each way in the small van if you bought 10.
Yeah.
And now I'm paying 400 quid every time I go, man. It's like
not cheap.
10% those 40 quid.
Well,
it's like 40%.
It's half a tank of fuel, isn't it? Not even that now.
yeah. It's savage, isn't it? That?
I mean, you can delve into a little bit of the technical if you want to.
What was the question?
How are you planning on fishing the main lake next week?
It will be either hemp and boilie or straight boilie, depending. And I won't be going wild with the bait unless if I'm in Coes or Alcatraz, then I'll put a bit out because I'll be fishing at range. But if I'm in the other swims, I'll probably. On the Saturday night, I'll probably start with 15 spoms because it's a big rush and I don't want to overcommit on night one. And then I'll look to fish 20 spoms a night depending on what I'm catching. If I put out 20 spoms and don't catch, the next night I'll put out 10. And if I don't catch again, I won't rebait. Yep. And if I catch 2 or 3, say I catch 2 or 3 over 20 spoms, then I'll put out another 20, 30 spoms. But everybody that goes to Gigantica thinks, I'm going to fill it in. It's like it's not that straightforward. You have to read it. It's based on if you're in the best swim and the fish are out there, you can absolutely load it. But absolutely loading it when you're not in the best swim or you're not on loads of fish is a waste of time.
Yeah.
You're not going to pull them out the middle if they're in the middle because you've put out 50 kilos of boilies. It just ain't going to do that.
No. Martin, can I ask what made you start with the combi rig?
What was my... So if you followed my fishing for a really long time, I used to be known for really simple rigs, as in a knotless, not braided rig. Had a lot of confidence in it. But the main reason I liked that rig is because it was super easy to tie, and I've always been super fussy about hook points. Now, the multi-combi rig would come up for me. I love the idea of combi rig, but tying combi rigs every time you change your hook was just a non-starter for me. I couldn't even... It was never going to be an option. But the moment I knew that you could change the hook, I was interested, and that's when I started doing it. So I can't remember where I saw it or if I saw it. I literally remember playing around with it in COVID, like around that sort of time, and it just sort of developed from there.
Lovely job. Still got quite a few to go through, but we're getting there.
Cool.
So we've got Noel said absolutely loved the Manor fully scaled dude, absolutely fantastic watch. James, thank you for your tips and advice. Great work and great app. Will you bring back CarpFix live prize draws now and then? I missed them and never won.
We should. Maybe we should do a Christmas one.
Yeah. Thing is, like the idea behind them was to incentivize people to get on the platform, which it works to a degree, but we still have to pay for the prizes, and we're not a competition site, and
I think
it gets expensive.
Yeah, I think when those competition sites were coming through as we were doing it, and obviously, I remember I gave away some of my bases, and I remember it really incentivized a lot of people to join.
Yeah.
And it really worked.
Yeah.
And then we bought some bases direct from Daiwa a couple of times in a row.
Yes.
And then we didn't see any real... We didn't see people joining off the back. We spent a lot of money on bases and didn't recoup that. But... yeah.
Now, like you said, like now and then maybe, but it just depends whether it's actually worth doing. And there's an awful lot of these competition sites out there where you can win stuff for like less than probably like 10p, 20p. So it's to incentivize someone to pay $7.99.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, $7.99 raffle tickets a hard sell, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not the one.
Yeah.
So maybe, but never say never.
Maybe a Christmas one.
Yeah, maybe like a one-off or something. Martin, Darrell, please can you do more stories? You tell them so well.
Got to catch that first. I've had them all. You've had all my stories.
William, evening guys. I'm booked for Gigantica Road Lake this November. Have you got any pointers for baiting, etc.? I guess it's not the same as spring and summer. Should I fish for bites or try to build a big hit?
I know they've seen a lot of maize there. That would be my thought process. November time, they're definitely coming off of the feed then. I would probably go with a straight maize or a straight sweet corn approach, maybe some hemp, or maybe some boilie crumb. I think a really good mix is cell crumb, sweet corn and hemp. I think that is a fantastic mix. And I would probably go light. But do you know, a minute ago I was saying if I was going to the Road Lake in May and June, I'd be looking for the pegs with no fishing banks.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's definitely the case once you get to November. I know that decoy would be a good bet. That decoy is a good swim. I think Billy's is one of the best swims on there now, and I think Turtles is. But I haven't got much experience on the Road Lake really to be giving proper sound advice.
Yeah. When obviously Rob's out there filming. I think there's a couple of films on the Road Lake on CarpFix on the app.
There's me there in the winter.
And Rob's on there. I'm sure there's a Rob film on there.
Yeah, I think there is, yeah.
But we'll get him to do like a breakdown of
swims and areas.
Yes, at certain times of years because he knows it very well.
Yeah.
So I'll get Ash on that. Where are we? Tom, hi, Darrell. Fishing a lake, approx 5 acres, 4 to 7 foot, very silty, not much weed. Max cast is 80 yards. Would you go with fluoro mainline?
4 to 5 acres, max cast is 80 yards. Did you say anything about weed?
Not much weed.
I'd fish fluoro, yeah, for sure. I think the fluoro is a great choice for that. Sinks really well. Brilliant for feeling the lid down. if it's sunk to the bottom, it's out of the way, and that's what you want.
Thomas has said, has the BC been seen with not coming out in a few years?
Apparently, around spawning time, apparently early April it was seen. Apparently it was seen when the lake was closed for spawning a couple of times. I think it's probably there. The main reason that makes me think that it's still there is because the guys that have been fishing it for years on end that are trying to catch it are still there. Right. And I think like the likes of George Benos, Chris Gardner, guys that have been there a long time, done the time, I think they're looking for any excuse to get out of there. Yeah. Like I would if I was them, I'd be thinking of all the other carp in the world. Obviously the BC's the pinnacle, like the last Mohican. But if they didn't think it was there, they wouldn't be there, and they know it better than me, which is good enough for me.
Yeah. Coppo has said he caught his first 50 from Val d'Or in France with the family a few weeks ago, but he has asked, what's the hardest lesson you've learned in carp fishing that made you a better angler? Hardest lesson you've learned in carp fishing?
Hardest. It's really hard to just pull that off the cuff like in a nanosecond. No, but like I remember when I fished at St Ives, which was a super low stock lake in Cambridge. There was probably a dozen or 15 fish in there, very, very, very low stock. And prior to that, I hadn't fished many lakes with less than 100 carp in. And I was naturally always drawn to the big central open swims where I was able to flex my casting skills and sit out in the middle. Now, I tried that at St Ives and done some savage blanking, and it was there that it really, really, really drummed home to me how important location was. When there's only 12, 15 carp in a lake, you need to be exactly where those 12 to 15 carp are. You can't wait in the middle. And that was a hard lesson where I'd done 30, 40 nights without catching anything.
Isaac is watching from Canada, tuning in. Steve, with regards to the multi-combi rig, can you use the hook links from the basics range, or will the rig only work correctly with standard hook links?
When he says hook links, does he mean the boom or the braid?
With regards to the multi-combi rig, can you use the hook links from the basics?
Well, I'm guessing he means the boom. You could definitely use the boom. I think I haven't done it myself, so you could probably use the cheaper boom. You just have to. I wouldn't change the braided section. That coarse braid, like that coarse braid. I use that because it only takes 4 turns for it to knit and hold. If you're going to use a softer braid, I would do. Let's say you wrapped it round 4 times. I might then wrap it back round 3 times on the way back up before going through. So you're like almost doubling the amount of turns and creating more friction. So if you're going to use a smoother braid, I would increase the turns.
Will Bailey is on the Road Lake on Saturday. He said, "See you at the Big G."
See you at the Big G.
Like that.
See you for dinner for a beer.
Yeah. Jez has said, "Thanks very much, boys. I'll get watching the Full Moon Monsters." That's in about the 3 years.
Yep.
Lee Nelson, hello lads. I've recently changed from Sonic 10-foot 3-pound rods to Kaizen Green 10-foot 3.5s. Keep losing fish at the net. Is this a coincidence or something I'm doing wrong now? I've got stiffer rods.
You could literally. I have used spod rods to fish with. And I've never lost a fish because I felt like I was using a spod rod. It's, when you get the fish close, you just have to be careful. And the rod is there to cushion the fish's lunges as it turns and whatnot. But you don't have to just keep pulling at it. Like I use my arm like a shock absorber. So like, although the rod is doing that, I make sure my arm is doing that as well. So if the fish goes at the last minute, I just don't hold on for dear life and try and stop it. I cushion the blow each time. So yeah, just remember that you're in control of how much pressure goes to that hook, not just the clutch, not just the stiffness of the carbon. Your arm is that you are the pressure. You are putting the force on it. So just be aware of that when the fish comes in close and just trying to cushion the blows.
William has asked, he's not actually asked a question, he's giving you some feedback. He said, I met you a few years ago at the Kaizen release event at Norton. You gave me some casting knowledge I will never forget. Thanks, Darrell. There you go. That's another thing we could do, like social stuff. You could do like a little itinerary or timetable.
I like the idea of trying to book all of Norton, like literally the whole complex.
Yeah, and you could do like little things like that. Just
you could have like a casting area, like a barbecue area,
PVA big
PVA bag area,
PVA bag area. With
hopefully,
old Burgess.
Hopefully it's not raining.
Ben Milnes. So Gigantica, how's it fishing? That's what you asked.
Come on, tell me.
Just the one. So I don't know where.
Yeah,
Ben
on the
was.
first night. He's in the stink. He's in the stink.
Okay, just the one so far for me. 42 pound 4 ounce common. 9 bites for the whole lake so far. The lake shut off the last 2 weeks for some reason. Everyone's scratching their heads. Plenty of bream.
Do you know what? I was going to tell a funny story. You're going to like this, right? So he's saying the lake shut off.
Yeah.
Now Ben the bailiff put his seat box out in a swim between, like in a gap between swims, right? He threw a few balls of ground bait in there, and Danny wants him to get some bream out. So he's thrown his little feeder rod out there. He's hooked and landed a carp and lost 2 carp in an afternoon and caught no bream. So Ben, get on the ground bait.
Get on the ground
Whatever
bait.
ground bait that Ben the bailiff's using.
Yeah.
100 kilo of it,
Go
straight out in the old whopper dropper.
Go and have a quiet word with him. That would be hilarious. Danny Bell. Evening, guys. Hope you're well. Just joined a head-to-toe weedy venue, 25 acres. I've had a couple, but felt I should have had more. Best bit of advice? ?
With weedy lakes, presentation is your biggest issue. And when I say presentation, you've got 2 choices. One is to fish on the clear spots and make sure you find the right clear spot where they're feeding. And the other is to fish on top of the weed if you can. Now, before all of that, you've got to be exactly where the fish are. But being on the fish, that's just a given. You've got to move around and be in the right place at the right time. But being able to fish effectively in the right place at the right time involves doing work in advance. So I would spend loads of time plumbing in the empty swims, like during the day when no one's around, when you're fishing in another part of the lake and you're resting your swim. I'd go for a walk with my leading rod and I'll be noting down spots at all times, because having spots, when the fish turn up in a swim, you want to know where you're casting. And if you know how to get out to clear spots minimally, that is a huge edge. When you turn up to a new lake, particularly a weedy one, you're at a massive disadvantage. You can find the fish, but if you can't get out minimally, you're ruining it before you start. So my biggest advice on weedy lakes is to really go to town with a marker rod in between sessions, not necessarily when you're fishing in the swim where the fish are, but doing it in advance in all areas so that you're best prepared for when you find yourself in those swims with fish.
Beautiful. Mark, how come Gigantica Main Lake seems to be having a massive problem with bream this year, or was this always a problem there in April, hoping to avoid them? Do you think hemp and whole boilies is best?
The reason is they've obviously spawned in there successfully, and when they're like this big, they're not a problem. But as they get bigger, like you've had a successful year, and then they suddenly end up as these, once they're like 1.5 foot long, like 18 inches, they're a problem. They'll eat bait. And that's just what it is. They've had a successful spawn in there, and they've just reached a certain size. Loads of particle, loads of pellet goes in there, and they've just obviously got super tuned to it. Now, they are thinning them out, but it's, it will be thousands. It won't be 10. There'll be a few of them in there. But hopefully by the time you get there, they've been thinned out.
I remember years ago, didn't Dan get some guys over to course guys?
Yeah.
I bet he still does that quite often now.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think basically one of the guys who works for Embryo has been in contact with me. He wanted some footage. Ash had a shot of the bream, a big shoal of them, and he wanted it. And I'm guessing he wanted it for an advert to advertise for people to go over there bream fishing. I'm guessing.
Get old Ringer and Rooney over there.
Yeah, but in April, I think you'd be fishing around the edges, and when you're fishing around the edges, you're not getting so many bream, and you're also be fishing zigs out in the middle. So I don't think the bream will be a massive problem in April.
Yeah,
that's what.
Hopefully, Ben. Hi guys, Darrell. Do you ever use backleads?
Haven't done for a long time. The situation where I would use backleads is if it was flat between me and my spot, all the time. Say somewhere where there's no weed, no gravel bars, no features, just a flat lake, then I would use a back lead. But the trouble with everyone thinks that when you use back leads, it stops the fish that you've hooked going in your line. It's actually it's the exact opposite of that, because if you're fishing with your lines out normally, fish goes under your line, starts bleeping, you go underneath. If it goes over the top, it goes over the top. With a back lead, if the fish comes round short, it catches, or if it gets round it, it's terminal. There's no, once you've got a fish on, it goes through one of your other rods that's got a back lid on, it's over. It's like that rod is doomed. So I used them at Yateley Car Park 8 years ago. I used them during my fishing at Little East and Manor, but they're just not something that I use very much anymore.
Cool. Steve said, thank you for your answers tonight, lads. Really appreciate it. Steve has also said he'd be down for a Norton social. Danny Bell Hughes has said, also, I've forgiven you for emptying Sandhurst before the BCAC way back when.
You know that?
I know.
Basically, I went there. It was May. I blanked 7 nights on my previous sessions there across a few years, and I went there in May one time. It's wind and rain. He spombed it up in the middle with straight tigers, which I'd never done before, and just literally opened a can of whoop ass. It's on YouTube, the film. It's called Day Ticket 40.
Oh, is it the one that Shendog filmed?
No. Elliot and
I
Jack.
know the film though.
Yeah. And just absolutely had it in the middle, and then they had a match on. Obviously, they all wanted to get in the swim where I was, and then no one had nothing. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah. But it's different. When I was there was hardly anyone. It was quite quiet.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you put 20 guys around it, spomming the nanny out of it. Yeah. It was over.
Martin has said, boys, really enjoyed the live tonight while on the bank with a beer. Thanks for joining us for an hour and 20 odd minutes. And Danny Bell Hughes has said, thanks for your advice. And that's it.
Cool.
We've got through everyone.
Good.
So we'll be back in October.
Well, yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed our monthly Q&A. Obviously, like I say, the main purpose is always to answer your questions. So yeah, even if you're fishing, you think about anything, write them down in your notes, knowing that we're going to be coming live every month, and then just bring them to the occasion, and we'll do our best to help you out. But obviously, on top of that, we'll have a little chat behind the scenes about some more socials, because loads of you are asking about that. But yeah, until next time.
I'll see you in October.
Thank you.